All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're breaking down a conflict that has put the whole world on edge, the 2026 Middle East War. We're going to look at how years of tension just blew up and what it could mean for all of us. So, the year is 2026, and what started out as, another regional flashpoint, well, it's completely detonated. We're talking a full-blown military crisis now, and honestly, the global consequences are just hanging in the balance. Okay, so right in the middle of this whole thing, you've got three main players: Iran, Israel, and the United States. It's absolutely critical to understand what's driving them, because really, every single move they make is going to dictate what happens next.
So the big question is, how did we even get here? I mean, a war this big doesn't just pop up out of nowhere, right? To really understand what's going on, we have to go back a bit and look at the tensions that have been simmering for a long, long time.
Yeah, for years, and I mean years, Iran and Israel have been locked in this intense kind of Cold War. A lot of political maneuvering, a lot of military friction. It's basically been a shadow conflict that has shaped, so much of what goes on in that part of the world. And really, all that tension, it kind of boils down to two main things. First up, you've got Iran's nuclear program. That's been a massive source of anxiety for the international community for a while. And then second, there's Iran's growing military footprint in the region. Its support for these really powerful allied groups. And of course, its rivals see that as a huge direct threat.
Okay, so with all that tension just sitting there, what was the actual spark? What was the thing that finally lit the fuse on this powder keg? Let's take a look at the one event that turned all that simmering tension into an all-out war.
And that flashpoint, it happens in February 2026. This is it. This is the exact moment that shadow war we talked about just ends and the direct head-to-head military conflict kicks off. So the first shot is fired, and it's a big one. The United States and Israel launched this huge, coordinated attack, and their targets are incredibly strategic. We're not just talking about regular military bases. They went for Iran's nuclear infrastructure. And with those strikes, that was it. The war wasn't just a possibility anymore, it was real. But an attack like that is never going to be the end of the story. You just knew a response was coming. And Iran's response, well, it was immediate and it was very forceful. Yeah, there was absolutely no waiting around. Iran's retaliation wasn't just talk. It was fast and it was decisive. They were showing the world they were more than ready to fight back directly. So what did that retaliation look like? Well, it was a major assault from multiple directions. They unleashed these huge waves of missiles and drones. And it wasn't just the Iranian army doing it. Their whole network of allied groups got involved. And the targets? No ambiguity there. They were aiming for Israel and for key U.S. military bases all over the Middle East. And this is the point where things really start to spiral out of control. What started as, military hitting military, it expanded fast. And that created this just devastating ripple effect that spread across the whole region. And tragically, once the missiles started hitting cities, the war took on a real human cost. Civilians, ordinary people, were getting caught in the crossfire, getting hurt. And that just escalated the whole crisis way beyond military targets. Then the war shifted again to a whole new front, the economy. Both sides started going after critical energy infrastructure, oil fields, refineries. The goal was pretty clear: cripple the other side's ability to keep the war going. And the effect of that, it was immediate and it was global. I mean, as soon as those energy facilities were hit, shockwaves just ripped through the world's oil markets. It was a stark reminder that, hey, a war in one region, it almost never stays just in that region. Which, of course, brings us to the really big question that's on everyone's mind. Why is this one conflict such a huge threat to global stability? And the simple answer is the danger that it could get much, much bigger. And look, this isn't just us speculating. Experts are basically sounding the alarm bells here. They're warning that this war probably won't stay limited to just those three countries. There's a real tangible fear that this could blow up into a much wider war. So why is that risk so high? Well, for one, the fighting is already spilling over its borders. It's already affecting neighboring countries and other armed groups in the area. And this is creating this really dangerous split. You've got some countries desperately trying to find a diplomatic way out, while others are getting pulled closer and closer to jumping into the fight themselves. And that pretty much brings us to today. The stakes are just astronomically high. So you have the entire world watching the Middle East, just holding its breath, waiting to see how this incredibly dangerous situation is finally going to play out.
How this all ends is, well, it's anyone's guess.
But one thing is absolutely for sure. This is way more than just another regional war. This could be a genuine turning point for the entire global order. So the real question we're all left with is, how is this one conflict going to change the world for every single one of us?